Good evening, everyone. Welcome back once again to Vicious Rants. And of course, I'm your host, your YouTube messiah, and often imitated, never duplicated superstar Tim Vicious. And we are going to be going over Raw this week. Was in Brooklyn, New York, home of SummerSlam. Now, before we go over Raw and the SmackDown Rewind, address the big issue that went on over the past weekend before this taping of Vicious Rants. Somebody wound up hacking into Paige's account, wound up leaking multiple videos and pictures of her, well, for lack of a better term, there were sex tapes and dirty pictures of her doing stuff. And everyone's been spouting out their 2 cents on the matter. Your beloved host is going to be no different. Keep in mind, before I say this all the time, you do not have to agree with my view. All I ask is that you respect that it is my view and it may be different than yours. I'm always up for debating, not arguing, if you disagree. My 2 cents on the matter. One, obviously, it is the hackers that went into it. They should be tried, and tried and charged for illegally gaining personal information from someone, because I myself was a victim of something like that some time ago. As well as, also, there is some fault should be held to blame on Paige on that part, because of the simple fact of you're engaged to another man and yet you're keeping sex videos of when you were still running around in developmental with a guy, and you're keeping all that information out. Oh, okay. You want to go and take dirty pictures, you want to have little dirty videos, okay, that's your prerogative. You're more than allowed to. Ominous Dominus. God be with you doing that. But be smart about it. You keep it for however long period of time you want. After that, get rid of it. Don't keep evidence of it. Because, and here's the big thing also, a lot of people aren't bothering to take the time to consider. Being a WWE wrestler, that puts you in a celebrity-like level. Therefore, anything that gets put out there, it automatically winds up bouncing back on them, and it's going to wind up for basically everything they do, whether it's in front of cameras or behind the scenes, is going to reflect on the company. Case in point, the Hulk Hogan debacle a few years ago. Now, I made this similar type of argument about it before. What you do behind closed doors is what you do behind closed doors. But if you're going to record something, case in point, like what Paige did, then you better be prepared for the 1 in a million chance it may wind up being seen and put out publicly. Now that that's said, if you don't like that, by all means, feel free to go into a whole comment rage down below, or hit me up on my Twitter at Tim Vicious on it. Always up for debating, never for arguing. Now then, before we get into Raw in Brooklyn, we are going to do last week's SmackDown Rewind. Big highlights from last week's SmackDown. AJ Styles went full on berserker, fucking nuts, creeped over, snuck the shit out of Shane McMahon, beat the ungodly hell out of him, slammed his head through a car window. After that, funniest point in regards to that was the Usos of all people, telling AJ Styles that he shouldn't have done that, which is saying something considering the Usos have done multiple sneak attacks on multiple tag teams on various people since they've turned heel. That's just idiotic right there. Now, after that, Daniel Bryan fired AJ Styles for that attack. Later on, you see See Shane McMahon leaving the trainer's office, walked out to the entryway, and just say point blank, AJ Styles is worried he doesn't have an opponent for WrestleMania. Well, he does now. Now, some folks are speculating that, saying that Shane is going to pick someone else, but honestly, folks, you know for a fact Shane's going to go and fight him himself. And I know some people are going to say, oh, well, this is going to be a horrible matchup. Dude, big thing I always bring up all the time. Who cares on how the match is or on how predictable the card is? The storytelling is what's the key. The storytelling that these two guys can put in the ring. Not only that, think about this for a minute. Shane is a top player in the company. You know, he may not be on the big high-end WWE payroll like Vince or Triple H, but he is still a top player because basically he's the son of the boss. You know? And you're putting him against the best worker in the best performer you have. That shows a lot of trust in him. You know? That's my 2 cents on that. Other than that, the only other big thing that happened that was on last week's SmackDown was John Cena, Nikki Bella confronted Miz and Maurice, and when they did afterwards, Daniel Bryan made it official. John Cena, Nikki Bella versus Miz and Maurice at WrestleMania. I'm actually all for that. You know, I like the idea of having this kind of match because, you know, Miz, he's been running hot with this heel run of his since he went to SmackDown, and he is doing great doing it. And he is one of the few people that has been able to survive coming out on the losing end of a John Cena feud. You know? Now, that said, now let's get into Raw this week in Brooklyn, New York. It did start out with Mick Foley coming out, holding cue cards, reading a well-scripted formal apology, and then throwing them down, basically saying, cue cards! Cue cards! I'm Mick frickin' Foley! I don't read cue cards! And his mic kept getting cut on, off, while in the middle of cutting this, and you could see a lot of emotion in Mick. Not enough to where his teeth popped out like before, but still. Either way, though, next thing you know, out comes the MILF in charge, Stephanie McMahon, and God damn, did Steph look nice tonight. I'm not going to lie, folks, on that one. And we all know, everyone should know, you know, obviously I got a little bit of a crush on her, but, yeah, it's honestly, I'm pretty sure even a straight woman would have one on Steph if they saw her. You know, either way, Steph came out, wound up pretty much verbally beating down Foley, saying on how, you know, he's nowhere near the man he should be, and then she openly fired him. So that's that. Foley's no longer in charge, and as far as on who the next Raw general manager should be, I did consider applying for that myself, but you know, I'm not ready for that type of job yet. There's too much paperwork and, you know, constant meetings. And the second you disagree with Vince, next thing you know, all I'm going to hear all day is, God damn it, from him. And, you know, I really don't want to hear that. You know, I heard that enough back when I was a kid working at Walmart, you know, from my old bosses there. But either way, after she threw Mick out of the ring, out comes Sami Zayn to help defend him, and Sami gets into Steph's shit, saying, you know, basically saying, you know, you are not the type of person that we should have here. He is. He has been looking out for everyone in here. You are a horrible example for what a boss should be. And keep in mind, I'm all just paraphrasing. But either way. After that, she goes to try and throw Sami out. Sami won't leave, and then out comes Joe. He just just makes a straight beeline down, walks straight down, stares a hole right through Sami, and then Steph says, "You're gonna have a match, Sami, and it's against Joe, and it's right now." And then next thing you know, Sami over the top plancha right onto Joe, and then they wind up having to cut the break, which okay, perfectly fine with, but after that, they show Joe coming off real strong against Sami, you know. And honestly, and keep on saying this is somehow Joe should be built right now, definitely, more than anything, because Joe is being billed as a destroyer. Not only that, he's running hot with that whole he took out Seth thing with the knee. And a lot of people were shitting on that idea, but keep in mind, folks, one, he whose name folks dare not say, Chris Benoit, wound up getting the nickname the Crippler because he broke Sabu's neck doing a suplex. And two, remember, Owen Hart ran around wearing a shirt saying Owen 316 says I just broke your neck after he wound up botching a pile driver on Steve Austin. And, you know, and three, Seth Rollins, most recent example. You know, the man Bret Hart blames for, you know, the sky being blue and grass growing and Donald Trump being president. You know? But yeah, Seth, he wound up kneeing John Cena in the face so hard he broke his nose. He ran with that, and they had a shirt that said, "You can't see knees," that ran for like a good 5 minutes. You know? God, and as sad as it is, that buckle bomb he threw on Sting, after that, he ran with that, saying he took him out. And then when Balor got hurt, you know, and everyone was saying, is Seth dangerous? Seth was running with that, cutting promos saying on how he's dangerous and he hurts people. You know, it can work. You know, as long as the other person is okay with what you're doing on how you sell it. You know, like, if I'm doing a match with someone and that person broke my arm, you know, I would look at them and say, hey, look, if you want to go and run with that saying on how you broke my arm, by all means, go for it. Sell it. You know, make yourself look strong. Make yourself look like a beast because of it. That's the thing. You want to do something like that to make them look better. And that's what Joe is doing. Now, back to the lecture at hand with this match. You know, Joe, he was really good. Sami, he started to pick up a small little bit of a comeback, but ultimately it didn't wind up going well. Especially when Sami, he did that over through the ring post DDT. Right after that, saw Joe, he had a small little cut like around on the inside of his eye. Nothing big, it was just right on the inside, right in there, like where my finger's at. But after that, it's like Joe hit a whole new level and went into like super pissed mode, which is saying something considering it's Joe. And wound up getting that Coquita clutch in, and then just, yeah, that was the end of it right there. So, next matchup we got, it was Charlotte versus Dana Brooke. And this was for payback for last week with Dana no longer taking Charlotte's crap. And, you know, Dana, she was on Charlotte non-stop. And I mean, literally non-stop through the entire time. You know, from the minute the bell rang, it was until the very end Charlotte, right out of nowhere, just wound up being able to get in a few shots, and then boom, good solid boot right to the face, and then got the 1, 2, 3. That was it, you know. Charlotte, she's obviously needs to look good for her match coming up at Mania, and definitely all for that, you know. And next matchup, we got Cruiserweight action. TJ Perkins going up against the Brian Kendrick. And, you know, Perkins, he was in control really from the whole time of the match. And this was a beautiful thing because, you know, and I normally shit on the idea of having one match being one way and then the next match literally following the same thing. I am, but this one followed through with it a lot better because during the entire match, Perkins was working it until Kendrick out of nowhere was able to hit sliced bread, got the 1, 2, 3. Next thing you know, the Brian Kendrick wins. He's outside, grabs his coat and the pirate flag, cuts a promo talking about on how Akira Tozawa should be here to take advantage of all the lessons that he's taught him, you know, to come out, attack him, this, that, and the other, but he's not, and then he winds up digging into his coat. Oh, he's not even here in this country because, oh, look what I have right here in my hand, his passport. I guess he should listen to lesson number 7. Always watch where you leave things. So, there was that. And, you know, and I'm liking on how they're leading up with this feud with Tozawa and Kendrick. It's going to wind up eventually leading to a half-decent match. One-on-one with them, definitely. The next matchup we got, it is Bayley versus Nia Jax again, which is a follow-up from last week. However, there is reasoning behind this. It is Stephanie wound up seeing Bayley backstage, and Bayley was all bummed out because Foley got fired. And Steph was in super bitch mode, which, you know, and wound up making a stipulation with a match between Nia and Bayley with, one, it's a no DQ match, which case, that's just scary to think of. Letting Nia Jax just go and run hot shot in a no DQ match. And two, if Bayley loses, Nia is then in the match at the Royal Rumble, and it is a fatal 4-way. So, that's that. Now, as far as this match goes, Bayley, she started off using nice quick shots, trying to, you know, work the legs, get in a sleeper, things like that. Playing good on that idea of strike quick, try and take them down quick. That way you don't have to exert yourself, you know, something like that. But ultimately that didn't work. Nia, she wound up quickly overpowering Bayley, you know, and she wound up pretty much steamrolling through her. Bayley, she started to pick up a good bit of a comeback, but yeah, that didn't wind up lasting very long because after a minute, you know, it was just boom. She just slammed and destroyed Bayley with a Samoan drop. Now, my thing is on this, no DQ match. Honestly, if you're going to do a no DQ match, you should. It's nice. I bring up all the time. Different is good. This no DQ match didn't really have a lot of no DQ-esque sort of feel, you know? But, you know, like I said, it's always good to try something different. They did on this one, just, wasn't really a fan of it. But, either way, they wound up doing that. Would like to see, like, if they do another no DQ match, you know, don't be afraid to pull out a table. Don't be afraid to have somebody get don't be afraid to have somebody get slammed with a chair. Or, you know, plowed through an entry ramp or something. Or whatever. Something along those lines. Either way, though, next matchup, we got another match made because Stephanie was in uber bitch mode. It was against Cesaro and Sheamus, or as you know, and I've been bringing it up before, they're like a modern day APA in a sense because they're two big jacked guys that aren't afraid to go and brawl. I mean, obviously they ain't got that, you know, blue collar look and feel like Bradshaw and Farouk had, but honestly, can you really copy that? Because I mean, in all seriousness, Ron Simmons, man's in his 60s, JBL, he's in his 50s. You put them two together in a bar and let them both share a bottle, I would still be afraid to pick a fucking fight with them two. Just because of all the freaking bar stories and all I've heard on them fuckers, on them two fuckers. But either way, Steph wound up setting up a match between Cesaro and Sheamus going up against Gallows, Anderson, Enzo, and Cass. And if Cesaro and Sheamus lose, They are out of the triple threat tag match at WrestleMania. So they're on the line. So their title shot is on the line. Now, as far as this goes, this was a relatively quick match. I would even go as far as to say this was the piss break of the night here, folks. You know, because literally right after Enzo and Cass cut their normal promo that, you know, you're just like, you tend to question humanity on, boom, Anderson and Gallows wind up beating the shit out of Enzo and Cass. The commentators were saying, oh, why are they doing that? Why are they attacking their partners? Dude, common sense. Because, let's just say for the sake of argument, they beat them down, they toss them in, they get the pin, they wind up beating the crap out of them, then they go and beat the crap out of Cesaro and Sheamus. They don't have to worry about that many opponents at Mania. That's that. You know, but plans as they are on how they look on TV go awry, and, well, that didn't work out because after they beat the shit out of Enzo and Cass, next thing you know, Anderson wound up getting hit with a Brogue kick, got the 1, 2, 3, and Sheamus got the 1, 2, 3, and that was that, and there, yeah. After that, Cass hit Gallows with a boot, Enzo did Air Enzo onto Anderson, and that's, yeah. So, next matchup we got now, it is in the second cruiserweight match of the night. Austin Aries going against Tony Nese. This had a nice back and forth for the sizing up at the beginning, you know, like the good size up, like that. But Aries, he wound up ultimately gaining the momentum and wound up winning, doing that rolling elbow of his. They're now calling it the 5-star... the 5-arm or 5-star forearm or whatever the fuck. Either way, we all know on how I feel about the greatest fucking douchebag to ever clog. If you think my dislike for Austin Aries is something, you should talk to Just a Stupid Mark on Twitter, because trust me, his hatred for Austin Aries burns like that of 1,000 suns. I'm not even joking, folks, because those are his own words. Yeah. Either way, though, next matchup, the main event of the night, it was Roman Reigns going against Braun Strowman, once again to settle things once and for all. Now, Braun, he was powering over Roman for the match, and again, this is on how he should be built. Braun should be built as a monster, and especially if he's in the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, my money, I'm putting all in everything on Braun winning this, you know, because honestly, I see Braun taking out Big Show, I see Braun taking out, you know, freaking Mojo, please God let that happen. And even if they wind up doing another surprise appearance with having Shaq in there, I see Braun throwing Shaq out too. But, back to this match. Braun, he was powering over Reigns. Roman, he wound up... you could see it was... and again, as far as storytelling wise, he was struggling to get that momentum, to get the comeback. It wasn't like he just threw boom, 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 boom. Threw a couple punches and then got his comeback. No, he showed he was struggling because he went to go hoist Braun up for a Samoan drop. Oh, couldn't do that. You know, had to wait until, you know, got a few shots, Braun powered him. Few shots, Braun powered. Next, you know, boom, rolled out the way for a running charge. And then that's when he started to get a momentum again. Storytelling like that. That's what I keep on talking about, folks. It's all about the storytelling with the match, you know. But Reigns, he wound up starting to get a comeback, wound up throwing a freaking Superman punch on Braun in a way I was completely surprised on. He went to go do it, Braun caught him, threw him in a corner, and then went to go body splash him. Reigns got out the way, wound up hitting the ropes. Braun picked him up, looked like he was going to do like a pop-up slam, but while holding him up literally like this, like a baby, Reigns just wham, came down like that with the Superman punch, got over in the corner, started getting psyched up to go and do the spear. Just as he was about to go and launch, boom, that's when the lights went out. Dung, dung. And then Taker came out, and you just saw him stare down Reigns and then turn around, saw Braun Strowman, grab Braun by the neck, choke slammed him. Now, here's the thing though. Undertaker, he did not look good right then and there after that choke slam, because I don't know if anyone else noticed this, and if y'all did, I'm glad you did, and I'm going to get close for it too. He had that kind of wincing look on his face, like he wound up pulling something. And I know that look firsthand because as a man with crippling back issues myself, there's not a damn day that goes by I don't wind up wincing like that. I just hide it on camera for all y'all. Either way, he wound up wincing, and then next thing you know, turned around, got speared, and then after that, Reigns started to go up the ramp. Taker, he stayed in the ring, wound up doing the thing, and then the lights went purple, heard Taker's music and all that. But honestly, as far as with this match goes, I'm thinking Reigns is going to wind up winning, more so because, well, let's face facts, folks. Taker's getting long in the teeth and he's getting up there in years now. Can't keep doing this. He's already had hip replacement surgery, I think 2 or 3 times. And you can only do so much in the business until it's time to say you can't go in there anymore, until you check out your bump card, Taker, I think he's been a little overdue on checking out the bump card, and not only that, after losing at WrestleMania 30, I don't think there was anything else left for him character-wise to go with after that. But either way, that is it for this week's show, folks. So please do not forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, go back, watch some of the other episodes. Look for me on my Twitter at TimVicious. Make sure you also check out my other account, Tim_Vicious. I'm also out there on that Facebook gimmick, Tim Ash. And folks, do not forget to follow all of these cool ass cats right here on that Twitter. Axel Mulligan, make sure y'all check out Axel's newest project, Brit Wrestling Review, where they go over British and European wrestling. Sunday Segue. Kenny, congratulations on 200 episodes. Simply Sabrina, cranky asshole, Aaron_DeBoer, my executive producer who provided the music for this week's show, Mr. Oliver, then his music's out there on iTunes, Spotify, Xbox, such details on that in the description box, as well as my client, Bronx Bitch, forever. And folks, like I always tell y'all, you love me great, you hate me, fuck yous.